It's a new year. That means new studio, new suit, and a new basketball season. We'll discuss that next on SFBN Talks High School Sports. Talk about that game and that team in particular. And let's talk about some of the players. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Welcome to another edition of SFBN Talks High School Sports. I'm your host, Ari Bluestein. Our co-host today is Emily Henning. Emily, thanks for coming back on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, high school basketball season is in full swing.
It is.
Now, non-league schedule pretty much done. Teams are getting into league play now. So we're going to talk about the city a little bit later, but let's get into the suburbs in the state of Pennsylvania. What's a team that has stood out to you?
Definitely PW, Plymouth Whitemarsh. They're ranked 11th in Pennsylvania, so they've been playing very well. They're undefeated. They have three players that really stand out. Xavier Malone, Andre Mitchell, and Jimmy Murray all average at least 14 points per game. They've been having a great season. There's also this kid, Cameron Johnson, who's a little younger, but he's starting to stand out as well. So there's not really many holes on this team. Like, they all play very well. So I think they'll continue to play well also.
Yeah, PW is usually a pretty good team.
Always,
so
yeah.
I expected that. And
Yeah.
a team that I think is usually pretty good as well are the Abington Ghosts. How are they doing so far this year?
They've also been playing well. However, the last two games they lost. So they lost against St. Joe's Prep and Lower Merion. And the reason is their offense just can't get it together. Their defense is always aggressive, is always good. But even their head coach admitted that their offense plays well, but in spurts. And you're not going to beat these good teams if they're not consistent.
Oh, it's a long season, so
Yeah.
hopefully
they can turn it around.
Yeah, hopefully. Now, in South Jersey, there's a lot of good teams as well, and another team that I think about is Paulsboro. They are coming off a football championship,
Yes.
and they're a pretty good basketball team, too.
They are. They have four seniors that definitely lead this pack. There's Brandon Hamilton, Salim Little, Deshaun Burgess, and Theo Holloway. And this foursome, they've compiled an 81-9 record the 3 seasons they've been
Wow.
there. They have 3 Colonial Conference titles, and they won 2 South Jersey Group 1 titles. And they're definitely the favorite in Group 1. So these 4 guys definitely lead this team. And what's interesting about this team is the majority of them are also on their football team, which also had a great season.
Right.
But they weren't sure how their basketball season was going to start because so many of the kids were preoccupied with football. But they did have an incredible start to their season. So
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll get better as the year goes
Yep.
on, too, as they kind of shake off the
Focus
football.
on basketball.
And focus
Yeah.
on football. You know, they won the championship. Now their eyes are on the prize in basketball.
Yes.
Now, Toms River North down the shore, they're usually a pretty good team, too. How are they this year?
Yep, they've been playing very well. They have Pat Marinaccio and Mike Neister. They've been their stars of the team, and Mike won the MVP of their Christmas Classic game, which they played last week. So, this team plays very well. Their defense definitely stands out. They're very aggressive on defense, but they've been very good this season.
And the state of Delaware is another state that we want to talk about.
Yes.
They're a small state, but pretty good basketball
There
going
is some
on
good
there.
basketball there. So there's Alexis I. DuPont,
Right.
I want to talk about. They have this kid, Freddie Hurd, who's the leader of their basketball team on and off the court. He's also the quarterback to their football team. So this kid, great athlete. He's got a ton of options for college. He said he's open to playing either sport. He's just looking for the best scholarship. But this team has 6 seniors that start. So they play very well, but they're trying to develop some of the younger players and incorporate them more in the end of the season. So we'll see how that goes. But the seniors definitely lead this team.
Yeah, and usually when you have a senior-laden team that has played together for a couple of years, they have a lot of good chemistry, so they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah, they're going to be good, and they are good.
Now, in Delaware, another team that I think about is Salesianum. Dante DiVincenzo is their star. I saw him play a couple of years ago in a City All-Star game. He's going to Villanova. Just a phenomenal player. Talk about those guys.
He's great. He's very fun to watch. He's 6'4", 170 pounds. He was ranked 78th in the 2015 class. So watching him play, there's definitely a reason he was in the top 100. He was recruited by Rutgers, Pitt, Florida, Vanderbilt, Syracuse.
Wow.
Everyone wanted him, but I think he made a good decision choosing Villanova, and I think he's going to fit in very well with Jay Wright's team up there.
I think the city of Philadelphia is going to like him.
Yeah, they're going to
as
like
well.
him.
Yeah.
He's a great player, great deep ball, great ball handling skills. He even improved this year, which I didn't think was possible.
really?
But
Wow.
he's been great.
Yeah,
he's
when
definitely a player to watch.
Yeah, and when I saw him a couple of years ago, he could just finish. He has such athleticism. He could finish towards the basket. So, yeah, he is a phenomenal player.
He is.
And normally I'm a city guy, but I'm really starting to get into the suburbs and Jersey and Delaware. A lot of
There's
good
some
basketball.
good basketball going on over here, so definitely something to keep watching.
And we're going to continue on with our basketball conversation when we return next on SFBN Talks High School Sports.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
I got the personal attention I needed. I had a lot of options when I graduated, and as far as I'm concerned, this is my dream job.
Ryder prepared me for my NBA career, and I also got the education that I need for life after basketball.
I had 6 teaching internships while I was at Ryder, and right after graduation, I started a career that I love.
The Ambler Sports Academy is owned and operated by professional teachers and coaches. We specialize in individual, group, and team training. Book your next baseball or softball birthday party with us, or call to learn more about how we can improve your organization by providing coaching clinics, tryout evaluations, and on-the-field training. The Ambler Sports Academy will be offering summer camps at the following locations. Be sure to visit our website today for details. We look forward to helping your players reach their maximum potential.
Welcome back. Last year, the Constitution Generals won the 2A state basketball championship, and a big part of that was assistant coach Fran Hamilton. Unfortunately, this past summer, Coach Hamilton passed away. He was loved by his colleagues, players, and family.
Francis Hamilton, assistant coach at Constitution High School, better known to all as Fran, was a basketball fanatic.
The first person to put a basketball in his hand was his nanny, Janet. She played ball in grade school and high school, and she was supposed to go to college. And instead, she came to work for us and just turned him into a basketball player.
I think he started when he was young, like 5 years old or something. My son would cart both boys around to the neighborhood.
It was a lot of fun growing up with him because he just could always just get on the court. All the other things would go away.
He probably could play basketball before he walked.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably did.
As a kid, he was always a sports nut.
And it was like, he would just light up anytime he would talk about, basketball.
And basketball was a part of him from the time he was young.
He had a way with basketball. It was natural to him. The way he could shoot, the way he could rebound. And then it was just more like he knew more about the game than average kids, when you're 12 years old, you're just throwing a ball up in the air, and you're not setting up drills, you're not running plays. And he was just like, he was far advanced in basketball than any other sport.
He had such a big heart and loved sports so much that when he grew, his heart grew into sports. And it was basketball. It was all about basketball. And, although he played soccer and baseball and touched on football, it was basketball. It was his love and the love of sharing his talent.
He always brought people together, was what he did. And it was amazing what he could do on the court. And coaching, for that matter.
I would call him a basketball genius, a great wealth of knowledge.
Fran is a basketball coach and a basketball mind. He probably forgot more about basketball than most of us will ever know in our entire life.
Like one game, he gave me a 6-page scouting report. It was more than I could digest. So I know it was overwhelming for the players.
Basketball transcended all things except for family.
We would have birthday parties, holidays. Busy as he was with games and all, he always was there for some portion of it.
He was always there. Whenever I had a birthday party, he would make sure he showed up.
He was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. I mean, he changed my whole life.
One day I was going into church and he was driving down the street and he stops and waves, "Hey, Aunt Helene." And I say, "Hey, Fran, how you doing?" "I'm doing good." "Oh, I gotta go." Well, you know, an hour later he was at my house saying, "Aunt Helene, I'm sorry." He said, "I couldn't stop. I had Mom in the car. I needed to take her home to get her ready for church." You know, but he came back to tell me that.
I sit in the stands at all the games. I used to feel so privileged that this guy still wanted me to come to his games. Even though he was 32, it was like so exciting for me that he felt that I was a part of it. And it made me feel important to be his mother, that he wasn't ashamed of me to have me there.
He would do anything for anybody, especially his really close friends. I mean, if you could call him and, you know, at the drop of a hat, he would be there for anything that you needed. He would always put people in front of himself.
Always dependable. If you needed him, he was there. He never let you down, ever. You know, he was a great friend, a good son.
His student athletes and fellow coaches became his second family.
Francis coached ball out on the West Coast as well, and the West Coast kept looking for Francis to come back out there.
Right.
And it was Francis' love for this team, his seniors. It was about watching his seniors.
This will be, you know, his group. These are his kids.
Yeah, when he won the championship, well, first thing he said to me was, "Well, I didn't win it, they did."
And he said these guys work so hard. And that's what King was talking about. You know, he would walk off the court because this is their moment. This isn't about me. And it was always like that for him.
When we won the state championship, I saw in his face like he was proud of us. Fran, he was like another dad to me.
He was a father figure, like a parent and a coach. Just always looking out for me, always trying to make sure I was cool.
He treated us like we was his second family. He was always there for us when we really needed.
Like he would be there as a friend, coach, like a father figure, not just me, to everybody on the team.
He wanted the most out of the kids. He was strict and stern and expected the best out of them, but it was all for their betterment.
He cared about them scholastically. I know that he was after the kids if they started falling down in their grades. He kept after them like a father would.
He talked to me every day, text me, saying how was I doing in class.
And made sure we was on point with school and basketball, and just wanted to see us do good in life, not just in basketball.
He wanted to teach them, but he wanted to teach them how to be people too, and how to be grown men. And that was his whole focus. Basketball was great, but it's only part of life.
With the loss of Fran Hamilton, a hole will be left in the hearts of his family, friends, students, and fellow coaches, but his memory will live on in those he has touched.
For over 30 years, the Runaround has serviced southeastern Pennsylvania as the premier team outfitter in the region. Located in Abington, the Runaround serves as a one-stop shop for many of the area's top high school and collegiate athletic programs, as well as numerous travel teams, youth organizations, and corporations. With its top-quality screen printing and embroidery coupled with the best prices in the region, the Runaround is your answer to any team apparel needs.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
The Writer's Corner is brought to you by El Dion Pagilari State Farm Insurance Agency. For all your insurance and financial needs, please contact El Dion and his friendly team at 215-485-5556 or visit their website, epinsured.com. Welcome back to SFBN Talks. It's now time for the Writers' Corner, and we welcome back Ed Morrone, the sports editor from the Northeast Times. Ed, thanks for coming back on the show.
Always a pleasure, Ari.
So let's talk about the teams that you cover in Northeast Philadelphia. Let's start in the Catholic League. When we think of Father Judge and Archbishop Ryan, we think of teams that are maybe in the middle of the road or maybe the bottom tier of the Catholic League. But this year, both teams are playing a little bit better.
They finished 10th and 13th, respectively, Judge and Ryan, a year ago. It's going to be better this year for both of them. How much better still remains to be seen. Judge so far 8-2. I think they're have a leg up on Ryan, but just more experience than the Raiders right now. Senior point guard Will Brazukas is back. He's the guy that drives the car. Very smart player, good on defense, makes very few mistakes, and he's got a lot of weapons around him this year. Juniors Justin Fleming and Quincy Reed. Sophomore rising star Mark Rodriguez can really shoot the lights out. They got a great story too in senior guard Aaron Higgins. Had heart surgery a year ago, couldn't play last year, was medically cleared to play this year. He's been a dynamite player off the bench for Judge. They're going in the right direction. They lost their league opener to Conwell Egan, but they can shoot the lights out. If they're on, they're going to be a defensive nightmare. Now, as far as Ryan goes, only won 2 games in the league last year. They lost their opener to LaSalle at home, but I think they're going to be a little bit better. I don't know if they're a playoff team yet. Might be a year away. Only 2 seniors on the roster. Most of the guys in the rotations are juniors and sophomore, led by forward Austin Chabot. He's a junior. Is at an inside game, driving to the lane ability that he didn't have last year as a long-range threat only. Sophomore guard as well, Isaiah Brockington. Look out for this kid in the next couple of years. He only played JV last year, but he has a natural inclination to be able to score the basketball. Very impressive. Think they might be a year away, but don't take them lightly because if you do, they're going to bite you.
Yeah, and Father Judge, I think they're a pleasant surprise in the Catholic League, and also a pleasant surprise in the public league is George Washington. You know, we think of them as a football school, but John Creighton has the Eagles playing pretty well. They've knocked off some big-time teams. Tell us about GW a little bit.
We'll move over Ron Cohen. You're not the only amazing coach at George Washington these days. John Creighton in his 3rd year. He's gotten Washington to the playoffs each of the last 2 years. Won a game last year. This year they've taken an even bigger step forward. Charles Brown, the senior 6'6" forward. He's the guy for them. He can pull up from long range if you give him space, or he can drive to the rim, get to the basket if you put him on the foul line. He's a tremendous free throw shooter. And what I love about Washington, I saw them play earlier this season, they love to play defense. They will run through a brick wall for Creighton and his assistants. And, it doesn't hurt getting Almanji Watson, the transfer from Northeast, yep. All public selection, averaged close to 20 points per game last year. He's also in the fold. Another weapon for John Creighton. He's got a whole bunch of them. A great team out of the Public League Division B.
Now let's go back into the Catholic League, out of the Northeast now. Archbishop Carroll is one of the top teams, not only in the area, but in the nation as well. They have a 5-star recruit in Derek Jones, and as expected, the Patriots have done well so far this year.
Well, they're 6-3, a couple of close losses to teams out of state. You mentioned Derek Jones, UNLV commit. Might be the best player in the league. What he just did in their most recent game at a tournament down in West Virginia, they're playing the number 7 team in the country, ranked by USA Today, a school from Indiana. He puts up 21 points, 13 rebounds. Carroll gets a huge victory. He's so good at 6'7". He can really do it all. He's got junior guard Josh Sharkey, has been the number 2 guy this year, a number 2 scorer for Carroll that they really, really need. And also that goes without mentioning Ernest Aflac-Poy, the 6'9" center. He's going to Temple. He has missed some time recently with a knee injury, but if they can get him back and plug him in the middle of the lane, watch out for Carroll. They are a team, had a great season a year ago, and they're going to be right in that mix in that top 3 or 4 in the Catholic League.
Yeah, absolutely. When you think of the top 2, you think of Archbishop Carroll, but you also think of Roman Catholic and Neumann-Goretti, and they're actually playing in about less than an hour on our website, thesportsfanbasenetwork.com. That's our SFBN Game of the Week, and these are 2 storied programs, 2 very good coaches, and 2 teams with a lot of talented players getting a lot of looks from colleges.
Well, I think head coach Chris McNesby from Roman has been waiting for this one for about 10 months since Neumann-Goretti upended Roman 53-48 in last year's Catholic League Championship. Roman had gone 13-0 in the regular season in the Catholic League, falling just a little bit short. Guards Jameel Holbrook and Tony Carr really paced Roman. They've got talent all across the board on that roster. Then you go over to the other side in Neumann-Goretti, going for their 7th straight league title. Lamar Kimball, he's the only starter back, the senior guard, but he's also got help. Quade Green, a sophomore guard. Zane Martin, a junior guard. You know, this is a team that knows how to win. They lost some talent, but, you know, it replenishes. Carl Arrigale has done such an amazing job over there, but I tell you, Roman, Chris McNesby is a Northeast Philly guy. They have unfinished business, and they really, really want to win this game. It should be a fantastic contest between two great teams.
Yeah, it really should, and make sure you check that out. Again, SFBN Game of the Week coming up in less than an hour. Ed Morrone, sports editor from the Northeast Times, thanks for joining us on the Writers' Corner.
Thank you so much, Ari.
When we come back, we'll continue on with our basketball conversation here on SFBN Talks High School Sports.
I got the personal attention I needed, I had a lot of options when I graduated, and as far as I'm concerned, this is my dream job.
Ryder prepared me for my NBA career, and I also got the education that I need for life after basketball.
I had 6 teaching internships while I was at Ryder, and right after graduation, I started a career that I love.
Welcome back to SFBN Talks. We are now joined by Roman Catholic head coach Chris McNesby and Neumann-Goretti head coach Carl Arrigale. Coaches, thanks for joining us today on web chat here on SFBN Talks.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Now, Carl, you lost some of your top players from last year's team, including Jaquan Newton. So how have some of your younger players stepped up this season?
Well, lots of our seniors last year, especially Jaquan, we had 4 seniors. There's not too many times where you have 4 senior starters, and it's a big advantage from an experience standpoint. You know, and Lamar Kimball has taken our young guys under his wing and really transitioned them into a nice little group right now. We're playing with a lot of inexperience, but right now in the non-league we've gained some experience, and hopefully we're ready for league play.
Chris, your team has had a lot of success so far this year. Talk about how your team has played during non-league play.
Yeah, up to this point, our non-league, we've been 8-0, so we're excited about that. We've played 2 local teams, Haverford School and Malvern Prep, which we've won, and we've gone outside of the city, played in a couple national tournaments, the Gonzaga DC Classic, which is a very prestigious tournament. We were fortunate enough to win that. And we just got back from Binghamton, New York, in the Stop DWI Classic, and we were actually able to win that as well. So we feel pretty good about the start that we've had so far.
And talk about how your season is going thus far, now with some non-league play wrapping up.
So far, so good. I mean, I think we're a little ahead of schedule. Our guys have been playing well. They've been doing a really nice job of adapting to, you know, a somewhat new system. We're playing a little differently now because we're so small and inexperienced. We're trying to do some things different than we played a lot through Jaquan last year. We're a little bit more where the ball's getting spread around a little bit more. And they've really adapted well to it so far. They've surprised me up to this point. I know we got a lot of improvement to make, but right now, so far, so good.
Even with all the success that you've had, you had a piece of bad news as Trayvon Wilkerson, your starting forward, now out for the year with a knee injury. Talk about how tough that loss is for your team.
Yeah, Trayvon is an outstanding kid. It was an unfortunate thing last year. He was actually hurt in our league playoffs, and we were excited to get him back for his senior year. Unfortunately, down in D.C., he tore his meniscus, and it looks like he's out the rest of the way. The guys on the team have really rallied around that. He's the kind of kid that everyone on the team respects, and we have a lot of, we feel really good about him, and unfortunate that we lost him, but I think we have guys that, and some depth, fortunately, to step up.
And how about this rivalry between Roman and Neumann? Because it's a big one. This is a big game.
Neumann-Roman, it's a big rivalry. It's been for years now. I mean, I've been in the league 22 years, and the game always drew big crowds and a lot of people. This is more for the people, and this early in the season, it's more for the fans and stuff. I'm sure Chris feels the same way, but it's it's a game, really a measuring stick for both teams, I guess, to see where we are when we play and see what we need to do. Hopefully we're playing again later on in the year for a lot bigger stakes than right now, but it's big. I mean, when it's Neumann-Roman, I guess everybody gets excited. They hear those two schools, and hopefully we're up for the challenge. They're the measuring stick right now. They're playing great, so I hope our guys are up for the challenge.
You have a big game coming up, Roman versus Neumann, big rivalry. A lot of people are going to be paying attention to this game. Talk about this matchup with the Saints.
Yeah, I think if you're playing Catholic League basketball, I think when you're young, I think you dream of playing maybe in a game like this, Roman-Neumann type game. A lot of fans, everyone in the city will be talking about it. It's a rivalry game. It's been fortunate for me to be a part of it for some years, so I'm really excited about playing them at Philly U.
Thank you for joining us, coaches.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's take a look at what's coming up next on the Sports Fanbase Network.
Well, that about wraps things up for this edition of SFBN Talks High School Sports. And Emily, how about that game coming up in a half hour on SFBN, Roman versus Neumann?
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. Historically, that's a huge rivalry, so Philly U should be rocking.
It should be a great game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing who ends up winning that game.
Me too.
For my co-host, Emily Henning, I'm Ari Bluestein. Thank you for watching SFBN Talks. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Have a good night. Yeah, it should be a great game. So many good players in that game.
Select video equipment for SFBN Talks has been provided by DMP Video. DMP Video. You provide the moment, we'll capture the memories. For more information about our videography services, please go to our website at www.dmpvid.com.
The high school scholar athletes of the month for January are Thomas Johnson and Jake Strain of St. Joseph's Prep High School in Philadelphia. As captains and key members of the Prep defense, Tom and Jake helped lead the Hawks to the 4A state football title this past fall and were named to the coach's All-Catholic First Team. In the classroom, Tom and Jake both have achieved a 3.95 GPA and are members of the National Honor Society.
The Sports Fanbase Network, this area's leader in high school sports broadcasting, is heading to TCN with a brand new talk show. Join us every other Wednesday at 6 o'clock for SFBN Talks High School Sports. We'll have everything from interviews with players, coaches, writers, and more, plus analysis, rankings, highlights, and in-depth features on major topics in the Delaware Valley high school sports community. Tune in every other Wednesday, 6 p.m. on TCN for SFBN Talks High School Sports.